Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to.
Hello, this is the Doug Walker Critic. We watched all of Doug Walker's Season 1 Nostalgia Critic videos, so you don't have to. This will be the first part of our Ranking Nostalgia Critic series, where we rank the Nostalgia Critic episodes and watch each one in painstaking hours of torturous Douggery. So Aiden, what is the worst episode of Season 1 of the Nostalgia Critic?
The worst episode is Mortal Kombat Annihilation. The Mortal Kombat Annihilation review has a lot of horrible things for it. It introduces, I don't know if it's the introduction of, but...
No, Hobo Guy's in earlier episodes. It's just the first time Hobo Guy gets to his level.
Yeah, it features
Hobo Doug,
his amazing Hobo Man character who...
shows up occasionally.
I'll just insert a clip here.
Hello! Am I on the internet?
For people who don't know, but he's a hobo played by Doug Walker.
It's supposed to be
about as
like
bad
if
as you can
Doug
imagine.
smoked a meth pipe. I don't know if that's the joke, but it's basically the Nostalgia Critic.
Except he just like begs for money.
Except yeah,
He's just like, can you give me
begs
quarters?
for money?
The episode also has the shaving skits because Doug Walker shaved his beard for some reason, and he
Because he
goes
bet
on
on
and on about
the
it.
bet on the 2008 presidential election
Oh right.
against a hobo version of himself or another 2007 YouTuber.
I don't remember.
It's kind of
what it was.
unclear,
It was something stupid.
but
And
yeah, because he's like, Hobo Man, I thought you won the challenge.
it really
and then
was.
he's like, I didn't win the challenge. Yeah, I also lost the challenge because I don't have a beard too.
It really was a foretelling of what his show would evolve into when most of the episode is just him screaming and doing skits.
Yeah, he does this thing a lot where he's like, that was just a loud noise for being a loud noise. What if I did a loud noise for doing a loud noise? And he just starts screeching. Like, it's his legitimate, like, criticism that screaming's annoying.
Or like
for
when there's-
comical effect, and then he screams for comical effect.
Or when there's an annoying noise and he repeats it thousands of times over and over again.
He's like, that
And
was
then
so
he like
annoying.
joins in with it. It'll be like there'll be like 2 beeps in a row. It'll be like beep beep, and he's like, "Wow, that's annoying." And then it'll be like, "Now I'm just gonna put that on loop, beep beep beep," and then he'll start going over it. It'll be like beep 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 beep, and it just keeps.
And then
going
he says
and
something
going.
like, it drives me fucking crazy! Alright, the second worst Nostalgia Critic episode, and I'm going to stop counting these after this because
It's gonna
I
get
won't
way more
remember the
confusing.
numbers, because there's like 40 fucking episodes. Transformers 2007 review. This is the pilot episode of the Nostalgia Critic, you might call it.
I guess.
What it is Doug screeches into the microphone for 3 minutes.
Truck comes in, and it's Optimus Prime! Holy fuck! Optimus Prime is in this movie! And of course he goes, wow!
And the only reason it beat Mortal Kombat Annihilation is because in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Doug screeches into the mic for 3 minutes and does the hobo skit and does 50 things that are retarded, where this is just Doug screaming in the mic for 3 minutes.
The Transformers review is actually Connor's kind of understating what it is because it's him frantically recounting the plot of Transformers while making fake explosion noises.
And all the people are like...
And screaming for like almost 4 straight minutes.
It seemed like it'd be a hard one to go lower than, but apparently it can be beat.
Next up is Doug Walker's experimental short film, The Teddy Ruxpin Halloween Special. How do I describe this? You know that episode, the Mr. Bucket episode of Board James?
It's like that, but 100
It's like
times
that,
less
but
funny.
made by the Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah.
It's experimental.
Be able to do this.
And Mr. Bucket could have went into cringy James material, because James does hit that cringe level sometimes. But there's a difference. And the difference is Doug Walker's obnoxious fucking screaming that I hear in my nightmares. I also didn't really know what was going on. I was also wasted when I watched it, but I didn't know what was going on.
I barely remember it. I don't even know.
Or alcoholics.
Like Teddy Ruxpin is like a bear
Toy
that
from
breeds
the
you or something.
80s, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Some sort of stuffed
It
animal.
was not a clever gimmick.
I was born in 1998, so I don't have a fucking idea.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Alright. The next episode, the next worst, is the top 11 naughtiest Animaniacs moments. This is the first, I believe, of Doug's top 11
I believe
videos.
It was, yeah.
And basically he's just like, these little cartoon characters make me horny.
Here's
And
a
shit.
subtle
Here's like-
subtle dick joke.
Here's like a subtle joke that could be interpreted as a dick joke. And he's like, I can't believe the censors missed that. And it's like, okay. And it's just that for 10 minutes. It's just not very astute observations. It's like he just rewatched Animaniacs because he's a man-child and then decided that here are the 11 moments that are slightly perverse.
Top 11 Disney villains. I'll be truthful with you. I don't remember this video in the slightest.
I actually remember it.
I assume he says, I
it was
really
just-
like Ursula. She's cool and has tentacles.
It was just really bland, and it really was over the top about. It was kind of like a Watch Mojo video before Watch Mojo, and this is the first one where we're like, this is basically our click catcher series, where
Yeah, we were
it
laughing
seems
about
like a nostalgia, like a fucking jab at Watch Mojo, but it came before Watch Mojo. He's like, number 11, Ursula.
Yeah, he does it.
She's bad, freaky, and scary.
He does it. with-
Ursula is one bad motherfucker.
He does
and
it
then he
with-
goes on to
Yeah,
like,
he does it with like the exact same cadence that you do your ironic top 10 lists. with.
yeah, it was actually like crazy. And I don't know if when I was making those click catcher videos, I like subconsciously pulled these because I watched these when I was probably
Yeah.
13 years old.
Yeah, that's
Because I watched
possible.
all the Doug videos when back in like 2010, whatever I would have been 12 years old in 2010. So I
something like
watched
that.
all these when I was like 12 years old, and I thought they were good then, but I was fucking 12. But that being said, I think somehow my click catcher, this wasn't intentional because I was trying to steal, because Watch Mojo almost takes the same cadence. Because I
Yeah,
was
that's
trying to
similar.
kind of take Watch Mojo's, but I think I almost channeled Doug because it sounded exactly like my click
Yeah.
catcher videos.
Yeah.
But like I was trying to do like the number 10. Birds of Prey. Cassandra Cain's a badass assassin in the movie, in the comics, but in the movie she's just an Asian girl.
Yep.
That type of thing. But that's what it was. It was just a generic, boring ass list. Anyways, the next video is Cloverfield. It was just a weird, like, it's kind of weird watching the Cloverfield review because it's like Cloverfield when it came out.
Yeah, it was like immediately. I was like,
Like, it was
The
like
day of,
Doug
he
got
went
out
home
of
and
the
he's like-
theater and he's like, it's like a monster movie. It's like, and then he like kind of like does like skits about Cloverfield.
Bullshit! All that build-up, all this time, all that effort just for a fucking monster? Suck my dick! If I wanted to see monsters, I'd go to the DMV to get my license renewed.
That's mostly what it was. It's like skits, which I feel like prefaces a lot of what comes later with Doug, like post-demo reel Nostalgia Critic, where it became a weird amalgamation of Nostalgia Critic and demo reel. That's kind of what it felt like. And it also felt like it had elements of that original Transformers video. And
a little
who
bit.
does the Melvin voice for the first time?
no, that's not that one. That's the
Oh.
next one.
I'll cut that out. It's embarrassing. I thought it was that one because I just remember he did a whole bunch of cringy shit. Alright, anyways.
Next up on our list, the next worst one is Follow That Bird. It's a Sesame Street movie. I have in my notes here that it's the secret origin of Melvin, brother of the Joker.
Now, I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You haven't heard of me, but I am the brother of, yes, the infamous Joker.
Do you remember what I meant by that?
I think I remember we were watching it and we're like, oh my god, that's Melvin. I don't remember. I really don't remember much of the review. I remember the plot of the movie was that Big Bird was chasing around fucking trying
was
to
looking for
find
his
a new
family or
home or
something.
some shit or got adopted. I don't really know. But it was fucking... Evidently it was shit, because it's pretty low. But whatever.
Evidently.
Alright. Next up, we have the Super Mario Bros. Movie. This is kind of the point. We're starting to hit the point where I feel like in early seasons of the Nostalgia Critic, Doug was a reviewer who happened to be a little bit cringy. So there were a lot of videos in the middle that kind of just fell into the category of...
This is like the mediocre zone.
This is some dude's review. He doesn't always have like particularly insightful ideas on the movies. It's just like observations of nitpicks he notices that he thought were funny, I guess. Yeah. And once in a while he cringily screams. But at this point, these are a lot of the ones where we've passed the cringe zone, where it's like there is like the standard level of Nostalgia Critic cringe, because Nostalgia Critic has like a level of inherent cringe. Maybe part of it's just how Doug is, but I don't really know. But
I remember in the Super Mario Bros. Review that he kind of just like, he didn't seem like he really remembered the movie, even though I assume he watched it to make the review.
In fairness, I barely remember his review, so I can't really judge him that much.
He was kind of just like making shit up and lying about it. But
yeah, I do remember that.
I mean, not to say it's a good movie, but I've done a little review of it myself, if you want to check that out. Sorry. Okay. The next worst is Double Dare Tributes. Double Dare was a show on Nickelodeon, a kids game show. So you can about guess how interesting this video is. Just not at all.
He just kind of talks about the show. This is also kind of where we start to see the origin of... I mean, I was going to say this is kind of the origin of Doug the man-child, but...
It was always
Doug,
there. It was always there.
Doug is quite the man-child. I mean, like, I definitely like geeky shit. I like movies and video games and shit. But there's a point where you're watching the Big Bird movie and recounting the Nickelodeon game show you watched when you were 5 years old. And it's like, you kind of hit the point where you're beyond man-child. And it's not like an interesting retrospective on it either. Like, you look at like Defunctland. Defunctland, dude's a man-child. But he usually has something interesting to say in his videos. Like 90% of them are pretty good.
Yeah.
Where Doug kind of just screeches about a children's television show and tries to critique it.
I think
really
it comes down to Doug's
nitpicks.
attitude mostly. Because if I Hate Everything made a video about, like, Big Bird movie, Follow That Bird, it'd probably be pretty funny
Or
to
like
see him,
Red
like,
Letter
roast
Media
it and not
roasts
take
fucking-
it seriously. But Doug takes himself really seriously, even though he reviews things like Double Dare. And then he also acts like a screeching idiot, like... You know, I'm into some cringe shit, you know, I like Sonic the Hedgehog. But at the same time, I don't act like Doug does, which, you know, makes me a lot less cringe than him.
That's true. That's a fair point. Alright, our next review is Jingle All The Way. Doug screams about the movie Jingle All The Way.
He pretty much...
Arnold and Jake Lloyd. I kind of remember he got really butthurt about like how
he gets really
the
butthurt
movie
about
was
the jetpack.
grounded.
Let me get this straight. A parade that can barely afford what looks like 2 balloons and only a few copyrighted characters can afford a fully functional rocket pack that even NASA couldn't perfect yet.
And then he has a jetpack at the end.
He spends like 10 minutes ranting about how stupid the jetpack is.
But that's
like,
another
it's a
case
movie
of
for babies.
Like we're getting back to a lot. And I feel like in this series we're gonna have to coin the phrase Doug the man-child a lot. But there's a point where you say, okay, Jingle All The Way. It's a children's movie centered around Christmas.
The kid wants a superhero toy, and his dad becomes a superhero.
And he's like, why are they comically fighting over this action figure? Like, it was like, I don't remember if this is like pre or post Tickle Me Elmo, but back in the day, there was like the must-have Christmas toy. I think they still got that shit because there's still like the hat. I remember a couple, I'd say a couple years ago. I don't remember how long ago it was now, but there was like Hatchimals and bullshit a couple years ago.
Yeah, before Tickle Me Elmo, there was fights over like Cabbage Patch dolls and shit. So
right, that's the thing is, you know, especially back in the day before it was like
internet
just get him the
shopping
new
and stuff,
COD
or-
game where
Yeah, that too.
there's enough COD games that you can just piss them out, where it's like some small toy brand stumbles upon some mega sensation where every kid wants the toy because it becomes a fad. And it's kind of playing on that. And it's like the fact that they are comically fighting over an action figure in one scene and he has a jetpack. I mean, it's like a Three Stooges, like, slapstick children's comedy, Doug.
Yeah.
That's what really, like, was bizarre about it.
So next worst is Tom and Jerry the movie. You know, we're hitting the real point of mediocrity where there's not a lot to say, where his videos are basically just him talking about some random movie he watched 15, 20 years ago at the time. This whole middle section is going to be pretty boring because unlike his modern videos have reached a new level of cringe with production values that are so insane it's unbelievable, and all
Production values so insane it's unbelievable. You mean the
But also
Uncle Tom
terrible.
furry that lives at his house?
No, 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 no.
And the girl
Well,
that dress up in Rick and fucking Morty
Well, here's the
costumes
thing.
while Doug Walker runs around.
they
dressed as
elaborately reenact every movie they see. They barely review anything. Fucking
It's because they
black furry and all the chunky bitches just like sit around and do stupid crap. They've like surpassed a level of cringe that shouldn't be possible.
I mean, we'll
And
get to
back
it.
in this season 1 stuff, it's just a guy sitting at a desk talking about Tom and Jerry the movie.
Yeah, I mean, really the worst that
There's
we've
nothing
seen
to
from
say about it
season
right
1
now.
so far for cringe is that Doug is man-child.
Pretty much.
So honestly, like, we started season 2 already, and from what we've seen of season 2, it seems to already be kind of improving because he's learning how to make videos.
yeah, honestly, season 2
But
has some
it's just guy
funny stuff.
reviewing.
Like legitimately, not so much because of Doug,
I think
but in spite of Doug, because he was picking good things during season 2, like the
Moonraker episode.
Moonwalker
Or
and
Moonwalker,
the Titanic cartoon with the rapping dog. Those are just funny on their own. Pretty much anyone could make a video about those and it'd be funny
It was basically a clip compilation of funny moments from the video.
with like slight commentary.
With
yes.
Doug going, "What?" and making jokes that don't land, but you can ignore it because the rest is kind of funny. And
Yeah, basically.
maybe once or twice an episode, Doug actually manages to land a decent joke. This is just kind of like season 1's kind of just a novice version of that format. And I think post demo reel, what Nostalgia Critic now is it's demo reel, but he quit doing demo reel because backlash.
Yep.
But he just kept doing demo reel and then inserted critiques from the Nostalgia
Yes.
Critic.
Demo Reel, Nostalgia Critic,
Just
and Doug's
combined.
ego have fused into a horrible monster called the Wall.
I mean, I would almost argue that it could be worse because demo reel was demo reel and Doug's ego. At least if you had the Nostalgia Critic, I would say it improves it just because the concept of the Nostalgia Critic alone at least adds commentary to it instead of I'm a man-child who wants to reenact movies. Now it's I'm a man-child who wants to reenact movies who usually has horrible opinions but might be lucky enough to make a funny joke occasionally, and somehow I can afford the money to get the Slipknot singer to sing the SpongeBob theme song for my Bandcamp album.
He made the Wall, which is
let's-
very bad.
Let's,
but
Aiden, let's
during
throw a
demo
wrench in it.
during demo reel, he made the supervillain shuffle,
We're not doing the supervillain shuffle!
which is perhaps worse. But we have
He
gotten a little
paid
off
to get
topic.
he paid to get the Slipknot singer to sing the SpongeBob theme song, but we'll get back to that in 6 years when we get through this Nostalgia Critic review series.
Anyway,
Where the fuck were we? Okay,
Above
Double
top.
Dragon. I don't think we talked about Tom and Jerry at all. Double Dragon is the same thing. Doug sits there, he reviews movie. I can't really particularly think of anything special.
Mortal Kombat.
Same.
You know.
Surf ninjas. He talks about a movie about surfing ninjas, and says it's bad. It is another kind of man-child Doug moment. But this is kind of like a movie I could see like Best of the Worst or something covering, and it would be funny.
Yeah.
So, I mean, although Doug's commentary wasn't like the funniest, because I don't find Doug to be funny 99.9% of the time, it was whatever. It's a funny-ish movie to watch. This is when quality starts to get like kind of closer to season 2 levels.
Saved by the Bell.
I think adult man talks at nausea about Saved by the Bell. He doesn't really make jokes in this one.
He doesn't really make jokes. It's more like a retrospective where he's just like, yeah, it was okay show.
That's
kind of a dick.
The other thing is,
like, okay.
I feel like Nostalgia Critic's more overtly comedy later. But in the early episodes, before he's like, it's just a character, bro. It's just, Doug puts on the Nostalgia Critic gear, and sometimes he seriously ranks stuff with, it's like he has slight jokes, but a lot of the times it feels like he actually, it feels more like actual, like there are times where it's just reviews, kind of.
He feels like a mediocre AVGN knockoff because he was. Who's just kind of
But I wouldn't even say that's 100% accurate.
I think he...
At first it wasn't accurate. It became more accurate after the AVGN
right.
crossover thing he did.
Yeah, you're right.
But I feel like early on he was just kind of guy reviews stuff in costume.
Yeah, more
Maybe
or less.
he pulled inspiration from AVGN. I think there's levels of copying, but in many ways I feel like it was like season 2 where he starts being like, I'm gonna pick shitty stuff. Because this season he actually picks a lot of stuff he likes.
Yeah.
And he praises it. Like, I think Saved by the Bell he kind of likes. He did shit on it a little bit.
Praise it, yeah.
And there's some other things he praises. Where AVGN's always kind of overtly picked stuff that's terrible.
Yeah.
So I think that is kind of a differing line. But same idea, I guess. Alright, Space Jam.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't like Space Jam.
Yeah.
You kind of shat on it a lot.
He really shat on Space Jam. People kind of... I have never seen Space Jam, so I'm not going to say if it's actually garbage or not.
I was a kid, but I don't remember it being, like, overtly terrible.
I saw part of it on Cartoon Network as a kid, but I don't remember it enough to consider myself having seen it. I just remember a scene where Michael Jordan as a kid is playing basketball and gets sucked into Looney Tunes or something like that. But a lot of people seem to like Space Jam. And has like a cult following, and especially given Doug's man-child-esque sensibilities, you would think he would like it, but I guess not.
Next up is top 11 catchiest nostalgic theme songs. It's just a list of like cartoon songs, like the Ninja Turtles song that Doug likes. It's just like a generic top 11 list.
Did you know Chuck Laugh-Track from The Big Bang Theory and 2.5 Men wrote like all the 80s theme songs? He wrote the Ninja Turtles theme song.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did like half the theme songs back in the day.
Wow.
Before becoming a producer. That's just a random fact I learned. The top 11 animated shows. A blanket statement for shit Doug likes. And it's 80s children's shows that are made to
just like, I like
sell
Ninja
action
Turtles.
figures.
I like Ninja Turtles. Okay. Top 11 scariest nostalgic moments. Guess what it is? It's just him talking about
Scary.
11 things he likes that are scary. Like The Witch in Wizard of Oz.
The next one is the top 12 greatest Christmas specials. It's 12 instead of 11 because 12 Days of Christmas. Congrats, Doug. Good job.
That it?
That's it.
Yeah, fair enough. Street Fighter. He basically says that it's not good, which I kind of disagree with. I've also made a review of Street Fighter as well as Mortal Kombat, the movies, if you want to check those out. Yep, this is more generic era
Street Fighter was our
Generic
first
range.
video on this channel.
That it was.
It was a re-upload from our racist gaming channel. Thanks.
That's a good way to put it.
Alright.
Oh.
Alright, the next
How did this get so high?
Doug episode is Beibeis Kids for the SNES. Some obscure SNES game about some 80s fucking like TV show,
I don't think it was a
90s
TV
TV show or movie or something.
Something like that.
It has a shitty NES game, but it kind of just seems like Doug had bought a shoebox with like 4 SNES games in it and was going to make a crossover with AVGN, so he grabbed it. Yeah, this is when Doug and AVGN had like that crossover fake feud thing.
Yeah.
Wonder if they're cool with each other still.
I mean, I would assume they are.
I mean, they're
'cause-
probably cool with each other, but they don't do shit together anymore, as far as I remember.
Well, he was on like James and Mike Monday once.
Oh yeah, that was like 2012 though, or
Yeah,
2014
I mean,
or some
still.
shit.
And
But,
James
yeah.
James also appeared in I think 2 of the Channel Awesome movies as like a cameo.
Oh.
So
Yeah, what do you know? Okay. But yeah, it's kind of like a crossover thing. Doug does an ABGN episode, and it's a subpar classic ABGN video because it's like Doug, so he's not as funny as James, just because, I don't know. James isn't very funny either, but there's just something that makes him like more respectable about the fact that his humor is stupid and cringy most of the time. Like, I can listen to James say diarrhea shit way more than I can hear Doug screech about.
it's because
Man,
Doug
children.
takes himself seriously and James doesn't. That's the
That's
difference.
true.
That's always been the difference.
Also, James is
James
like
is a
oblivious
nice-
to life, kind of.
James
somehow.
is a nice guy and doesn't have an ego, and
James is like a
Doug
man-child,
thinks
but he
he's-
doesn't have the ego.
yeah, Doug thinks he's some sort of masterful artist who can remake Pink
Yeah.
Floyd's classic
That
albums.
is another thing about James, is he doesn't seem like he thinks like AVGN is like some sort of form of high art. He's just like a dude that sits in his basement swearing at video games and making shit humor because he thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
And he still to this day doesn't have an ego after being like one of the earliest YouTube pioneers that somehow still rakes in millions of views.
Yeah.
And Doug rakes in hundreds of thousands of views and has a huge ego and makes horrible videos that he thinks are great.
Next
anyhow.
up is Three Ninjas.
This is the
I
same
don't
thing as
remember
Surf
this.
Ninjas or whatever the fuck that movie was called. It's just more crap. The next one is the Power Rangers movie.
That's not Power Rangers, the movie. I think
That's the show?
just
He
Power-
does the movie too.
He does the movie and the show, I think. Okay.
Does he? I think he just does the movie.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. It
He
is the
talks about the show for like the first half of it though.
movie. Yeah.
That's how he always does it. What do you want me to say? I'm not going to say anything. This is going to run too long if I just say the same. This is boring, Doug.
Above that is Cartoon AllStars to the Rescue, which is like. Was that the one with the cartoon characters?
It's the cartoon
stopping them from the
from
gun violence or whatever?
Marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe gun violence too, but I
Yeah,
think
something like that.
marijuana for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
The notes say he tried. I didn't cringe that hard. Which at this point, that's kind of where we're at. Like he tried, and I didn't cringe that hard. I don't think Doug will be this lucky later, but whatever. Next, we have the Wizard. He talks about the 80s Nintendo movie and critiques it like it's supposed to be good, not a 2-hour commercial for
Super Mario.
Super
Bros.
Mario.
3.
Well, he does kind of mention that. At least he kind of mentions that it's a marketing gimmick, and then he goes on to say, like, critique it like it's supposed to be high art.
I kind of
like
remember
anybody.
he pretty much spent the whole thing, like half of it was like, why are these adults playing arcade games with a child?
Making bets on video games, which it seems are mostly played by a lot of middle-aged, stuck-up white businessmen.
And then Doug made the wall.
How many times do you think we're gonna reference the wall
It's
over
very
the course
hard
of
not
what
to bring up
13 seasons or 12 because he took the year off for demo reel or half a month off for demo reel?
Okay, so there's the top 11 drug PSAs next.
That one has a couple funny-ish moments.
It's not that bad.
One-ish funny Doug moment, and like the rest.
I'm
is
not a
just
chicken,
kinda-
you're a turkey.
That ain't even Doug.
We used to say that to each other all the time.
Yeah, we did. That was a funny PSA.
Yeah, that one's pretty much just funny in spite of Doug. How funny
Ninja Turtles 1 and 2, which our notes say Nostalgia Critic eats sperm.
They even had a pie named after him. It tasted like splooge, but we didn't care. As long as it had the Ninja Turtles on it, we were happy.
Wants to fuck cartoons
What you see here is April O'Neil. Yellow jumpsuit, nice legs. Damn, she's fine.
and like swearing.
But granted, it's a lot better than their original cut.
Fuck that, man. Them niggas around the corner tripped out, man. Where my fuck that, man? Where my strap? Fuck that.
Never let Spike Lee direct a children's movie.
Okay, I think I remember some
I
of
don't
this.
recall.
The eat sperm one, he says at the start something.
I'm sorry if we don't remember this season as well as future seasons. We're not gonna. We
We were
didn't
originally-
come off the press. Originally, the plan was to like watch the entire series and as daunt. And I figured doing it season by season would A, be less daunting. B, you guys wouldn't have to. We wouldn't have to worry about the audience retention problems that would come with a 14-hour video
Nostalgia Critic.
on Nostalgia Critic. And 3, so you guys have to subscribe to watch all of our videos if you like us
Okay.
roasting Doug.
So the wanting to fuck cartoons, that's because he spends half the video talking about how hot April O'Neil is.
Okay. April.
The swearing, I think he says something about how the Ninja Turtles aren't badass because they don't swear or something like that.
Yeah.
And the eating sperm line, I don't remember exactly what the context is, but it comes in like the first 2 minutes of the video during his introduction. He's talking about how like he lost a bet and has to eat spunk or something. I don't remember exactly.
Something like that. I don't really remember the spunk part.
Next up is Masters of the Universe.
I do
which-
remember the sperm thing happening because we're like, what the fuck? But I can't remember the
Yeah, it's
context
really
at all.
weird.
I can't picture the thing. Whatever.
Next one up is Masters of the Universe, which I don't particularly remember, but apparently it
He
wasn't
just talked
that
about.
cringe.
He kind of just roasted Masters of the Universe because
I
it
do
was
remember-
like they pulled He-Man into the real world, and that's a ridiculous concept. Which is actually a fair criticism because they're pulling Sonic into the real world.
I do.
Next week's Sonic, which is probably
Pretty much
a video.
The only memorable part of his Masters of the Universe video was him kind of roasting the fact that they teased a sequel at the end of the movie and never made one.
Yeah. Why did he just like do that?
I don't know. I have autism.
Anyway, the next one's Kazaam. Didn't we already do Kazaam?
No.
Oh. For some reason I thought we already talked about Kazaam. There's nothing to talk about with Kazaam. He makes fun of it because it's a shit movie.
Next up is Batman and Robin. Oh God. Okay.
Oh.
So Batman and Robin had a musical number in it.
It's super crap-a-fuckerific, HBO bullshit. A film so bad the censors really ought to go and pull it.
I don't know how it got this high on the list because it has. My notes say awful song and monkey splooge. The monkey splooge was in relation to. He talks about monkey splooge.
Apparently.
He calls it that by name. And also there's an awful musical number that takes up like 4 minutes because it's a
Right.
Doug video.
Well, you know, the lines get blurred when we get at the high side of these lists. And I'm sure this is something that'll continue later, but sometimes they're so cringy that they make the top. Like, they're not annoying enough that they automatically hit the bottom. We're not, like, retarded enough as one of the season 2 episodes we'll soon talk about to make the bottom. But, like, with like Batman and Robin, the review had cringy enough elements in it that it was funny. So it makes higher. So it kind of, our list really isn't like objectively the best. It's the Doug episodes I could sit through the most because they're the funniest. That's pretty much what it is.
I mean,
the top most We rank how sit-throughable the Doug episodes are.
It's more like a watchability index.
Yep.
Right. You want to introduce the next one?
The next one we have is Howard the Duck. Again, I remember he talks about the duck boobs.
Yep.
He does the DuckTales song,
duck
but it's
titties.
duck boobs.
She wants to
Don't you
fuck
remember?
the duck.
Because Doug
I
likes
do
cartoon
remember
theme
that.
songs. You know this motherfucker's iPod's
Duck
full
boobs.
of like DuckTales and Transformers D1 theme song and bullshit.
You got the touch.
You got the touch. That dude probably still to this day, he's like 45 years old, he's in the car, he's like, God damn it, life is hard, I gotta go and get my colonoscopy. Then he hops in the car, puts on, pairs his phone to Bluetooth, clicks shuffle, and it's like, life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. That was kind of Dougish of me, I'm sorry.
The next one is the 1998 Godzilla movie, which is, thankfully for Doug, very easy to mock because it's bad.
And he didn't pull through with any notable cringe, which made it a good video by Nostalgia Critic standards.
Yeah. The videos are ranked...
Grab the low-hanging fruit and don't make anything cringy. That's what makes a good Doug video.
That is exactly it. It's either you have to... The things on the top of the list, these next couple, are either things that are Geiga cringe or not cringe. That's like...
Not calling them good, just calling them not cringe. Alright. Captain Planet review. I somewhat remember this one.
Captain Planet is a little funny because he mostly talks about the episode where the kids all get hooked on heroin, which is kind of inherently funny, and then the kid croaks
Doug
from
grabs
like
the low-hanging fruit.
He grabs the low-hanging fruit. He's too lazy to get the good fruit, so he takes the rotten fruit from the bottom.
Speaking of low-hanging fruit,
the Super Mario Bros. Super Show is next. He's got a whole bucket full of low-hanging fruit.
You reached up, and this is what Doug's doing. He's picking by his legs. This fruit's hanging so low, dude. Alright, the next video is the Drew Struzan tribute.
I believe it's Drew Struzan.
This is probably Doug's legitimately best video in season 1.
Yeah.
Because Doug comes through cringe-free, informative, and talking about a topic that he knows a lot about and not many other people talk about.
Yeah, it's
that
pretty
isn't
interesting,
like
actually. Drew
April
Struzan,
O'Neil's tit size or some shit.
Drew Struzan, for context, is the man who drew the Star Wars posters, and Doug just talks about
Back to the Future.
a little bit of history and some of kind of compliments him on his artistry, and it's actually like a legitimate video.
And this is also why I say it's hard to argue that Nostalgia Critic was conceived as a character, which is going to come up later because I know he kind of uses that defense sometime. Because especially in this early season, like this is just like a proto form of what you would see like a video essay person do.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, it's like...
So there's kind of like a level of... I don't know. But it was actually legitimately like pretty interesting and decent video. I watched it and was actually slightly entertained. And then I left the video and I was like, wow, that actually looks like something I might watch. Like if Doug only made videos like this, I might actually watch Doug videos. But this is the one time he made an interesting and good video. I mean, he has good videos where he grabs the low-hanging fruit, you know, a couple like funny-ish videos because of that, but this is one where Doug actually like made something interesting and researched a topic instead of catching half of fucking the Godzilla 1998 on TNT and deciding to make a video about it.
Oh, okay. So, our second best Nostalgia Critic video is top 11 underrated nostalgic classics, which is
Care to explain why this made it so high up?
I think this one kind of falls in the same range as like the Drew Struzan video, where he kind of just talks about like older movies that people might not know. Like he talks about something that's legitimately kind of interesting, that he's legitimately kind of knowledgeable about, and he doesn't do anything cringe, which is why, you know, it just kind of by default lands near the top.
Right. Alright, and our number one Nostalgia Critic video for season 1 is Top 11 Animated Women. And our note for this video is just bruh. And then my note, oh, actually the notes are categorized, Aiden and Connor. Aiden's note is bruh. And my note is bruh.
You can guess about how weird this video is.
He just a few videos earlier in the Space Jam video started. Oh, was he?
He started making fun of people for wanting to fuck
Lola
Lola
was
Bunny.
hot, and then he's like,
April O'Neil, I would suck on her titties. Number 9.
number 9, the pink dragon from Dragon Tales. I want to bend her fat ass over and fuck her.
Oh yeah, that was embarrassing.
It was so hilarious that in multiple times we were in tears crying.
It was really
watching a 35-year-old man explain the hottest cartoon characters.
It gave me flashbacks to when I accidentally discovered TotalDramaRicky. Because literally, one day I was sitting here drinking alone, because you were at Emily's or something, and I stumbled across TotalDramaRicky's top 10 hottest Total Drama Island women.
I'm sorry, but if you hate Lindsay, you're obviously a Trump supporter.
And I watched the whole thing.
Can we do some sort of deep dive on TotalDramaRicky eventually? If anyone watches,
should we release the diss track tonight?
Oh, we'll release it with this video. We'll just
we should redo the diss track because it gets cut off and it's really awkward.
Oh God.
But yeah, it was
for you guys if you guys are curious what we're talking about with no context. For some reason, we got wasted one night and thought it would be funny to
start beef with TotalDramaRicky.
We tried to start artificial beef with TotalDramaRicky, but now just thinking about TotalDramaRicky gets me kind of angry. So if anyone actually is watching this and cares to start harassing TotalDramaRicky, is that bad? That's bullying. We're gonna get shut down, dude. Don't harass
TotalDramaRicky.
Don't harass him.
I forgot those rules came into effect. Now we can't release that diss track. We gotta be more subtle.
We
gotta be more subtle.
We can't
start beef with
And
TotalDramaRicky. As far
while
as
you're
season
at,
1 goes,
if you want to see something even funnier than the top 11 hottest animated women, shout out to TotalDramaRicky.
Top 10 hottest animated Total Drama girls.
Let's start a friendship with Let's do a collab with TotalDramaRicky. I don't know what we'd collab on because this dude likes Total Drama Island. I guess the only thing we could talk about was either Imagine Dragons or Total Drama Island.
From stalking him, I think he's like 19 or something. I don't know.
Oh.
So he's not even old enough to drink with us.
We're not going to invite TotalDramaRicky down to the house. I wouldn't fly TotalDramaRicky out and just sleep in Dad's fucking basement.
You don't have to do a drunk view of like Total Drama Babies with TotalDramaRicky or something. So that was season 1. We're currently about halfway through season 2, so that should be coming.
If we hit 10 likes on this video, because we have such a weak viewer base that it's rare. But if we hit 10 likes on this video, I'm gonna make a promise right here. Scout's Honor, we'll watch all 3 of the Doug movies and review them.
Okay, if we hit 10 likes, we'll watch all 3 Doug movies.
In one day.
Once we finish all the seasons, we should do a best of battle. Find out the best episode.
Best of battle?
You know, the best one of each season goes up against the other ones to figure out
the best and worst. The best and worst from each season goes to war. And by goes to war, I mean we just revisit those videos, we'll rewatch them, and then we'll be drunk view them. Just milk this Doug cow for all it's worth. It works. This will be the most successful thing since our review of the Psych pilot for some reason.
Doug is going to be Oh God, do you
Doug
remember?
will be our Onision, dude.
That's
where
what
everyone
I was
else
just about
is
to say.
milking Onision. I mean, it's just for the minute, because, you know.
Do you remember when our plan was to review every episode of Psych because we didn't have Wi-Fi and that's all we had on DVD?
Yeah, early on in our drunk view career, we had no Wi-Fi and we had a DVD collection of Psych for the first 4 seasons and said we'll just review each individual episode.
We
got around to it.
We got through the pilot and said, "Holy shit, this is boring," and never returned.
Yep.
Yeah, you inspired fucking diversity in comics.
I don't
And
know
his
about
crappy
that.
channel mix.
I don't know about that. I'm not gonna go that far. But his videos came out right after mine. Also, I found
His
some
videos
dude that
came out
literally
right
ripped
after
off.
yours
Did I
and-
tell you the guy? Did I show you the video that came out like a year after my video, where it has the same thumbnail as mine, and he pretty much says everything I say word for word, and it's like exactly the same length. I could never find it again, but I watched it once and just commented, "Nice video, bro." He literally just copied my video word for word. And it was like the same fucking thumbnail where it was like the fucking mocking
Pregnant Spider-Woman?
There's pregnant Spider-Woman right next to fucking Mockingbird, whatever. What's her fucking name? I can't remember her stupid ass name. Fake Black Widow with her fucking I'm feminist t-shirt or whatever the fuck. It was like the same thumbnail. It was like slightly different thumbnail. Like he might have put like a diagonal line instead of just doing the lazy ass vertical I did. My most popular video, I made it in like less than an hour. It's awesome. 160,000 views, and I literally made it in like an hour, and it was just like...
You launched tons of people's careers.
I
Diversity
would
in
not
comics.
say that, Budge.
Diversity in comics literally just ripped you off, but his whole gimmick
No,
was
he
that
didn't.
At
He
the
just
end,
also-
he just
everybody-
burned a comic at the end.
Well, the thing is, everybody hated
Or, like,
it. This
rip it
dude
up.
would... I don't know how Diversity in Comics got big, because he'd just hold the fucking camera up, start
In his car.
recording, and be like, "This is gay. Look at this. Girl has vagina." That was his video.
pretty much.
Girl has vagina, a feminist?
You started the. You
Well,
started
everyone-
the anti.
Dude, I got, like-
comic book YouTube movement.
Dude, I would read. I remember like the peak. I was working at Target and I go on my half-hour breaks. I'd refresh and it'd be like 2,000 new views and 400 comments, and it's like half of them are like, "You're a fucking pig, you man. I'm gonna cut your dick off." Then the other half would be like,
I hate women.
I'd be like, "I hate women. Let's kill those SJWs. Any girl with purple hair, let's start fucking killing them. Let's make a fucking cool clan. Let's make a clan where we all team up and we start lynching women with purple hair. You know, gay people, let's burn them at the fucking stake." And I'm like, all I said is I thought it was dumb that they decided to just replace all the characters diversity pander. If you watch the fucking video, I'm like, you guys are being tricked by a fucking corporation because fucking Marvel doesn't give a shit. Disney doesn't give a shit. That's why Finn is like this fucking big on the Force Awakens poster in China and half the focus in the American one.
Yeah.
That was literally the point I tried to make, and all of a sudden I was thrusted in. I think I just made that video. I was like the first one to make a video at the right time where all these fucking anti-SGW people were coming out of the woodwork to shit on comics.
Comic books, yeah.
Shit on Marvel for their thing. But it isn't a diversity pandering thing. I mean, part of it is that they were doing that for like to give coverage in the news, which I mentioned.
Well,
but
it's-
90% of my video is saying they don't actually care. I've actually read comics for more
They're
than
being
2
woke
years,
to
and
try
I
to-
knew they're going to revert it back.
They're
I
being
said,
woke to try to shift their market away
no,
from...
they're not trying to be
people.
woke anymore.
Oh, yeah,
They had
now
a
they're not,
year
but-
of being woke. It made, and as I said in the video, it works for a month or two where you get 1 million sales, and then people say, "Well, I don't care anymore" from the outside, and then the core comic fans are disillusioned because these aren't the characters they've been dick riding for the past 50 years. So then they switch it back. I'm like, I've been reading comics for a long time. I know exactly how it works. And then everybody took that as I hate women and gay people, when in reality, I don't give a shit. Like, I like
should just
female
go back.
Thor. I like that the female Thor arc was probably the freshest fucking Thor comics in the past 20 years since Walter Simonson had a fucking run. And
They
the
should-
fucking Miles Morales, I don't hate Miles Morales, even though Bendis just redid his fucking Spider-Man run from the early 2000s with the black kid to make money, but that's regardless. Female Thor's good. Into the Spider-Verse made Miles Morales retrospectively good.
Yeah.
But
You know, I think they should go back to their sales gimmick from the old days where they just put a gorilla on the cover or a T-Rex.
That was DC.
Yeah, I know. I think it's funny though.
Because it would be like Green Arrow, and then it'd be like, how does Green Arrow get out of this one? And he's like hanging upside down, and then he like shoots an arrow, and they're like, see, wasn't that cool? I don't know if Colonel Sanders is canon to the DC universe, or if Colonel Sanders has his own sub-universe. We rambled for 20 minutes unrelated.
So anyway, that was our ranking of the Nostalgia Critic Season 1. Like we said earlier, if we get 10 likes, we're going to add the Channel Awesome movies into this little marathon we're doing. But you can look forward to us talking about Season 2 of the Nostalgia Critic pretty soon. We've watched about half of it now. So thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Alright, you can cut it.